Okay, hello everybody. This is the first session. Esta es la sesión número 1 para el grupo de inglés de nivel avanzado de los lunes y los miércoles por la tarde del CDI La Arganzuela. Yo soy Olga Villanueva y más que nada deciros que no sabemos cuándo vamos a volver a las clases normales, así que vamos a continuar desde donde lo dejamos al final del primer trimestre, ¿de acuerdo? Con nuestras lecciones. Okay, so first of all, I have to wish you a happy year, a happy new year, because it's the first class of the year, yeah, isn't it? Esta clase es la correspondiente al lunes 11 de enero del 2021, ¿de acuerdo? Bien, so let's get started. Vamos a empezar. So today we are going to start with a new unit in our student book. Okay, so now it's the time for you to go and pick up your student book. Let's go to page 28, unit 2D, page 28. In this unit, we continue with the topic of sports. What kind of sports do you like? In our last reading, we talked about different extreme sports, like, for example, going to a volcano and racing on it with a board, a skateboard, or bungee jumping, or what other sports did we see? I think we talked about very fun sport. It is I don't know if it's a sport, but a very fun activity where you went inside a bubble, a plastic bubble, and you could walk on water using that bubble, or maybe slide down a hill or things like that. Yeah. And the conclusion we got of that conversation, of that discussion, is that we didn't like a lot of those sports. And sadly, I have to announce to you that today we are going to continue with those sports. Yeah. So, what are the sports we are going to talk about today? They are here on page 28. Okay, page 28. And here we have paintballing, bungee jumping, pony tricking, karting, whitewater rafting, treetop adventuring. Great! So let's talk a little bit about each of them. The first one is paintballing. I think this is the sport or the activity where you go to a certain place, you get a special made guns which shoot paint, and you suit yourself with a special armor, and then you fight other people in groups or individually, and if you get hit by that paint, you get eliminated and you have to shoot the other team. Seems nice, seems interesting. I think it's quite fun. Yeah, interesting. The next one, pony trekking. It's a different kind of trekking, no? And I think everybody loves horses. Yeah, or ponies. Bungee jumping. I think bungee jumping is done normally from a bridge or from a platform, a special platform, and jumping into the air, the vacuum, where you don't have anything restraining you except for that cord or that that thing that keeps you safe. I think this is quite risky, and I heard about problems with this kind of jump or accidents. Karting, quite fun. I think this is some activity that we all do. Some women, when we go, for example, to a fun fair or things like that, it's really fun. Treetop adventuring. I think this is quite common. Everybody has gone to those parks. Here in Madrid we have one in the north, where you go and you have certain circuits or certain tracks, and you go, instead of on the floor, you go using the bridges or the ropes between the trees, the upper part of the tree, and they are quite fun. I mean, it's tiring, but it's interesting, yeah. And the last one, whitewater rafting. Whitewater rafting, I think it's quite dangerous. It seems very dangerous. I've never done it, so I have no experience, but it seems very dangerous. I mean, you can drown. If the raft flips over, you get done over. I don't know. Okay, so here in this part we have listening about people who has done this sports, and they share with us their experiences. But we can't do a listening in this way with the video. We are going to leave that activity for the day we get back to class, okay? So let's move on and let's do this reading, okay? Social program, review and recommendations of the committee. So here we have different paragraphs, but they don't have the title, okay? The headings of the different paragraphs are here on exercise 3, okay, part A. So we are going to read each paragraph, and afterwards we will match those headings with the paragraph they match up with, okay? So let's get started. Let's start with this paragraph, okay? And read. It says, the purpose of this report is to review the options for sports activities that could be suitable as part of a social program for foreign exchange students. So we are going to talk about sports that are interesting for exchange students, like, I don't know, something like Erasmus or, yeah. Last year we had 2 activities for exchange students, whitewater rafting and bungee jump, both of which received mixed reviews. This report is based on feedback on these activities. So mixed reviews, that means that it wasn't all positive or all negative. It means that it had both opinions. Okay, let's continue. Even though many students liked the extreme nature of last year's activities, some felt they were too challenging. Many young tourists who came to Australia are keen to do these activities. However, not all our students are necessarily have the same ambition. Whitewater rafting was not possible for students who were not confident swimmers. That's right, you need to know how to swim. On the other hand, the bank jump did not require any particular skill or expertise. Nevertheless, the idea of jumping from a bridge was seen by several as being risky. It is risky. I've heard about accidents doing the bungee jumping. Let's continue. It says, safety issues were raised with both with both activities. One whitewater raft overturned and a student suffered a concussion when he hit his head on a rock. Concussion is here, like you have to stay, you can't get to sleep, or you get woken every 2 hours or something like that. It's serious. Likewise, another student sprained her ankle in the bungee jump. So both activities were risky. You could get hurt doing them. Both activities were quite expensive, so despite the generous budget, we were obliged to ask students to make a contribution, which many were not happy about. Okay, students are always penniless. Yes, students and a lot of money, and that doesn't mix. The cost of providing transport to the venues for the activities drove the cost up farther because they are near the centers, the standing centers. You need a river for the rafting, and you need a very high bridge without any problems or any trees near or the jump. Yeah. And the last paragraph. For the students who are due to arrive this year, we would recommend that we choose slightly cheaper options and that we offer one extreme sports activity as well as something that is, by comparison, considerably less challenging. In contrast to whitewater rafting, treetop adventuring is a relatively inexpensive extreme sport with an excellent safety record. Alternately, less adventurous students could try paintballing, which is a low-cost and fun option that does not require any skill. Use of the local paintballing venue could cut transport costs, and we would suggest using the savings as a way of subsidizing these activities for the students. Fantastic! If it was my choice, I would choose treetop adventuring and paintballing over white rafting and bungee jumping. Yeah, these seem safer and way more fun. So let's match the headings with the different paragraphs. So the first paragraph, number 1, I would say it's an introduction, okay? So the second paragraph, it talks as the mixed results. Some were risky, it wasn't a completely success. So I could say safety concerns, okay? Yeah. Or maybe the level of challenge, it could be. For the number 3, it talks about the safety issues that were saved. Here you think it matches the safety concerns more. Yeah, it matches better. On paragraph 4, it talks about budget. So the heading for this part could be the cost and budget. And the last part where they talk about tree adventuring and paintballing, I could say the best heading would be recommendations, as a contrast with the sports of last year. Okay, so that's the reading of this unit 2D. Okay, you have several more exercises about reading comprehension and writing skills on pages 28 and 29 if you want to practice. I recommend you do writing at least. It's very interesting. You can choose other of those sports we've talked about before and try to write a recommendation letter to the committee, okay? And maybe they could choose the sport you prefer, okay? So that's it for today. We'll continue next day with the units and learning new English. So bye bye.